because the lack of outside exposure, when you have children that are on right now on devices about 7.5 hours a day, we know they're missing that critical element of growing up.
This year, I've toured a lot of Head Start facilities since coming into office, and the food was appalling. It was all ultra-processed food. One of the primary ones, and now 50% of the states have adopted it, is bell-to-bell legislation, so that in high schools and public schools, that the cell phones are left in the backpack.
Senator Britt.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Secretary Kennedy, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being in front of this committee. And I know we have a number of things to talk about, so I'll get right to it. I enjoyed my conversation last week with Dr. Casey Means. I had an opportunity to visit with her and hear about her vision and what she'd like to do as in the role of Surgeon General, and really kind of cementing, obviously, choices for parents, mothers, good products in front of them, so many things that we feel like no one has been willing to tackle. And one of the things that I talked with her about was told her I really appreciated her support of Stop the Scroll, just talking about the negative mental health effects on children. I mean, it happens obviously across the board, social media wise, but specifically with children. I think a lot of times we talk about the things that people know, whether it's bullying or sextortion or different things that are happening online. But one of the things I think that we miss, and I think that you have focused on, is the health effects and mental health effects that occur from things like lack of vitamin D deficiency, because the lack of outside exposure, when you have children that are on right now on devices about 7.5 hours a day, we know they're missing that critical element of growing up. When you're looking at social media too, the diminishing of real world socializing skills and the ability to communicate with one another in person, higher rates of anxiety and depression, and weaker physical and cognitive skills. And when we're looking at that, I am deeply concerned about those effects, not only on everyone, but especially on the next generation. Can you tell me, what does the evidence show about the downstream impacts of the things that I just mentioned, and what targeted steps would you recommend, whether through congressional action or HHS guidance, school policies, parental empowerment, that we can do to reverse the trends that we're seeing in our children right now?
Yeah, and thank you for meeting with Casey Means. Casey was number one in her Stanford Medical School graduating class. She was a brilliant physician. She left practice in order to devote her life. She saw that our system was broken and that people were coming in because they were eating the wrong stuff. They all were metabolically challenged, and that her job was just to patch them up at the end. And she decided to devote her life getting Americans to change their behavior. She's not partisan. I hope she gets support from both Democrats and Republicans. She is the most eloquent, articulate, erudite evangelist for the MAHA movement. She has nothing to do with vaccines, never going to talk about them. She just wants to change the attitude toward metabolic health in this country, and I think she will have a revolutionary effect on this country. We don't have much jurisdiction at HHS to alter cell phone use. We have a MAHA agenda for the states, and we're asking them to pass a retinue of laws to protect children that they have the power to do that we don't. And a lot of that is like continuing medical education, to teach nutrition in schools, but one of the primary ones, and now 50% of the states have adopted it, is bell-to-bell legislation, so that in high schools and public schools, that the cell phones are left in the backpack. And the transformation of those schools, and I've toured a number of them, including in Loudoun County, Virginia recently, is transformative. The students support it now. I went to a cafeteria. The kids were all talking to each other rather than looking at their laps. The testing scores for the school have gone up. The disciplinary problems have gone down. The parents love it. They say the kids are now learning to drive. They're driving without using their cell phones. They're coming home and eating dinner with the family without being on the cell phone the whole time. And we're doing everything. I'm touring all the states to urge them to pass that legislation because I think it's the best thing that we can do.
Absolutely. I think we should do more here in Congress. Couple of things real quick. I know I only have a little bit of time left. Nearly 14 million children in the United States live in food insecure households, and roughly 1 in 5 children may not have consistent access to enough food. Head Start plays a critical role in providing nutritious meals to low-income children during their most important developmental years. Given the scale of child hunger, what specific steps has the department taken to strengthen and expand Head Start's nutrition services? And do you believe the current level of funding is sufficient to meet those needs?
You know, my family started Head Start, and I have a deep nostalgia, but also there's 660,000 kids in Head Start, the poorest kids in our country. Its impact on them is demonstrable. It's been shown in study after study. This year, I've toured a lot of Head Start facilities since coming into office, and the food was appalling. It was all ultra-processed food. We just gave it $62 million in addition to maintaining the budget at 2025 levels. We are at 2026 levels now for a new budget. We gave $62 million to Head Start as a one-time investment to make sure that they can build kitchens, that they can build home gardens, that they can develop the infrastructure for feeding the children right. And we're requiring them now to provide nutritious food, fresh food to their children.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I am out of time, but I appreciate your service and look forward to continuing to work with you.